Okay, so for part C, it says use the tree diagram, this tree diagram here, to find the probability that a patient selected at random will not have the disease. So, if we remember, guys, from the tree diagram, when you go across, you multiply, and when you go down, you add, a bit like that. But to find that they will not have the disease and will test positive, you go no disease, not have the disease, and test positive. So we're going to say not have the disease is 0.95. We're going to do it in decimals, times no disease and positive, so times 0.02. Take out my calculator. Let me get rid of this. 0.95 times 0.02 gives me 0.019, 0.019. So it's possible that you don't have the disease and still test positive. Okay, part 2. Will test negative. Right, so this, guys, it's an 8-mark question, and I believe it is broken into 2, 3, and 3. Now, they don't tell you that. They just say 8 marks. But this is where 3 marks, it's slightly more difficult than this one. So to test negative, it's both of these. It's disease and negative. So that's 0.05 times 0.01. Or, which is a plus. So it's this and this, disease and negative, or no disease and negative, which is this and this. So it's disease and negative, or no disease and negative. And we just put this into the calculator. This gives me 0.05 times 0.01, or 0.95 times 0.98. 0.9315. That's 0.9315. Finally, this is the hard one. Has the disease given that they tested negative? Right, when you see that word given, guys, in a probability question, hopefully you recognize this is conditional probability. In the formula, which is in the formula booklet, for the probability of A given B, the straight line is given B, is equal to the probability of A and B divided by the probability of B. So in our scenario, it's the probability that, what's the probability they have the disease? So that's disease. Let's call it, well, let's write disease. Disease given they tested negative. So this is the probability. So it's this and this. So disease and negative. D for disease, N for negative, obviously. And I'll divide by the probability that it's negative. Okay. Disease and negative is disease, 0.05, and negative times 0.01. And the probability that it's negative, well, that's, we've done that for part 2. It's this, it's 0.0935. So this whole thing equals 0.05 times 0.01 divided by 0.9315, 0.000537, 0.000537. Now that's a tiny number, but you'd expect it to be small, because if you test negative, you probably don't have the disease. Because if you, you probably don't have the disease anyway. 95% of people don't have the disease, and if you don't, there's a high chance you will test negative. So the probability that you have the disease, given that it's negative, is very, very low. Okay, that is part C.